Welcome to Brothers Thrice. We are three brothers who grew up in a close, tight-knit family, but we have some different opinions and interests, and we like to debate said interests. So today, we are going to bring our difference of opinions in with superhero movies. Not the best, but the worst. I'm here with my brothers.
I'm Will.
I'm Brian, and this is my co-host Pepper.
For the listeners who can't see, Brian's dog Pepper is in the shot with her very
looking very tortured,
very human looking eyes staring at me.
So let me go, please.
She used to be a person, just I'm not sure who. Okay, you can go play now.
Hitler reincarnated into Pepper? Could be anybody.
No.
Does she bark at Jewish
Gross.
people?
No.
Jesus,
she did bark at an old lady today.
Oh,
did you ask the lady if she was Jewish?
No, I didn't. I did not ask some random lady I've never met before. Excuse me, are you Jewish?
Hey, you Jewish?
My dog barked at you. Just check.
So we're doing worst superhero
Hitler.
movies. So we're doing a bracket style for worst superheroes. So usually this is something different because usually we pick, okay, whoever is the best will win. But now whatever actually is the worst will move on, which is kind of a fun change it up.
The worst of the worst.
Oh, and we got some bad ones.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
So let's kick it off. 8 and 9 seed. So the 8 and 9 seed is Wonder Woman 1984, the newer Wonder Woman movie. Is that you, Bri? Right?
Yes, that is my number.
And
three.
then number 9 is the original Justice League, which is you, Kev, right?
The non-Snyder cut.
Right. The what was released in the theater?
The theatrical release.
Not the Snyder cut that came out more recently. That he had
that's like 9 hours long.
It's only 4.
Only 4 for a movie? That's long. That's longer than any Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah, but it's like literally like everything that he wanted to include. Like there was nothing cut out because it's
no, like I get it. It's still 4 hours.
No, it's long. I watched it, but it's it's long. It's better.
I've been meaning to watch the Lord of the Rings movies. I've never seen them.
I just recently watched. I just watched all of them. It took me a while. I watched the first one. I didn't watch any of the Hobbit ones. Just the original OG one.
So you can stick with.
I heard the Hobbits are not very good, so I didn't watch those.
They're okay.
Yeah.
They're not great.
Those are not my favorite.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Crystal.
Did she pop in? I was looking back
for a quick second. She popped into the frame. Into the background went away.
The background
went to the laundry room.
That's funny.
My coworker made a Lord of the Rings reference today, and I didn't get it, and he seemed very disappointed in me.
What'd they say?
What was the reference?
I forgot what the word he used, but it's like the second breakfast thing. That's
Well, that second breakfast.
Yeah,
there's Mary and Pip. Is it Pippin?
Mary and Pippin.
Pippin, yeah. Pippin, Bri.
That's why when you put the logo, the
yeah.
That one time,
that was actually recently after I watched The Two Towers. I was like, it was in my head, and you said Pippin pictures, please. Bye, Chris.
Yeah. They said bye. She has her headphones in. She can't.
Oh, she was just like she flickered.
They said bye.
She flickered in the background for a second.
She says hi and bye. She says hi and bye.
It was just like a second. I saw like her arm that was like cut off. Yeah, but I watched all 3 of them. It took me a while because I watched like the first one when I had COVID back in the beginning of 2021. I watched the first one in like 2 sessions because I kind of took a nap halfway through. Then Two Towers I watched at work. I watched while I was working, and then I watched Return of the King more recently.
Hopefully, Mike Bloomberg doesn't listen to this.
No. It was
boss.
Like it was while I was
watching Lord of the Rings on the job.
It just was like on. It was like it was. They're just too long. They're just too long movies. But that's not what we're talking about. Well, maybe we'll talk about it when Brian watches them. We'll talk about them.
Yeah. Let's get on that.
So we said,
show your classes. There's a lot of like Earth and stuff in it. So Middle Earth. Show your
Middle
classes.
Earth. They destroy a lot of trees to make.
There's tree people.
The tree.
You're in the movie.
What is it? Is the main guy? The main tree guy's name is Treebeard, right?
Yeah,
that's such a lazy name.
What should this guy be named? Whatever.
Treebeard, Mr. Freaking Treebeard.
Call up Tolkien. He's dead, but you call him up.
He's been dead for a bit.
Yeah, he's
all right. So it's back to the bracket here. So Wonder
Anyway,
Woman
so movies,
1984
but not
versus
those movies.
Justice League. So Bri, talk us through Wonder Woman 1984. Very more recent of a movie.
Yes. So Wonder Woman 1984 for me is one of the worst superhero movies that I've seen because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Like
it's weird.
it that's the best way to describe it is it doesn't make any sense. For some reason, I don't even remember why. The what's his face? Her boy toy named Troy, who's to live in Detroit.
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. He's
Oh,
just
that's not
like
his real character name. I don't remember.
yeah. He's just in this random dude's body for no reason.
Well,
she wished
because
it.
she wished
It's
that
all-
he come back to life, and
yeah,
then
I
he came
know,
back
but
to
like
life.
it's so
But
lame.
it's like
is it a genie? Like is Robin Williams in this movie? Like it doesn't
the
make any sense.
wish stuff is always like wish, and like it's like magic, but it's not magic because it's like things are happening, but
But
like
it
it's
is
not like
magic though.
but it's not like things are just like pop. Like I wish for $1 million. It's just like things are just don't pop up in front of you. Like events happen or things happen to make that dream come true. So that's why Chris Pine didn't just like appear out of nowhere. He had to like inhabit another guy's body to make her wish come true. So it was like a way to do it where it wasn't like cartoony kind of wishes, like where it's like I wish I was married, and then a woman just appeared. Like he would wish he was married.
It still kind of turned into that though.
No, it got it.
And then the Mandalorian's like,
appeared.
I am this weird artifact thing. Everyone touch me and make a wish with me.
That was interesting. I was like, that was an interesting loophole part. But it's also like it just wasn't a Wonder Woman movie. Like it was.
Yeah, it was like a King Midas story with that.
It could have been anyone. It didn't have to be like Wonder Woman. It wasn't like special to her. I feel like
also like Kristen Wiig turning into a cheetah lady was kind of also odd.
Because that's legit like Wonder Woman villain is Cheetah.
No, I know it. I know
like,
it is, but
the way it went around is weird.
And Kristen Wiig, like I love Kristen Wiig,
I was okay
as a
with
villain,
it. I was okay with it because it kind of showed her like, I think I liked before she turned into full Cheetah, where it was like she just like she was like a very meek and like kind of like a pushover person, and then got more confidence, but then with confidence became like evil, I guess, or bad. That I like.
How did she turn into a cat lady again?
I think she just said like I want to become like the ultimate predator or something like that. I think that's what it was. And then the wish stone was just like, oh, so ultimate predator, you're a cat now, you're a cheetah, because I guess technically it's the fastest land predator. I don't know. It's like how does this piece of rock think? It's it's just it's a rock, so it's like a monkey's paw.
If this thing happened in like the MCU, like that, maybe there's like an alien intelligence in this rock, maybe I'd buy it, but they didn't allude to anything like that.
Yeah, it was very
it's supposed to be like mythical of some sort, like godly kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's like with Wonder Woman and the Amazons and stuff. It's like there's already like that mythos kind of throughout, but it's really
true.
I don't know. It was
the first Wonder Woman was great. I loved that movie.
Yeah,
it was
first
a really
one was
good one.
They just need I think they just need like more of a pared down story that wasn't like that, because like it was in war, so it was kind of like already built in conflict there with that first one, and then the second one.
I feel like this one, it's more so like it's a global thing. Like the guys, like, but like all the other people who we know are in this universe, are not helping in any way,
or not,
form.
Or
like, where's Ben Affleck?
Yeah. Where's the said Justice League, which brings us to our other film. I just, when I was watching it, when it was over, I was just like,
the heck was that?
Yeah, like
I feel like it was a waste compared to the first one, which is very good.
Yeah, exactly. It was a huge letdown.
Yeah.
I didn't see it in the theaters, and I'm glad. I think there's very much letdown.
Yeah, well, because it's like they had such a good first story, but it's like this is the next adventure you want her to go on, like this kind of thing. It just seemed like a bad like.
Did it even come out to theaters? I think it was pandemic. I think it came straight to HBO Max.
That's right.
That was one of the first movies that really like went just full release there.
Maybe that's why it was so bad.
Maybe.
I don't think that.
But I don't think that had. I liked
they
were planning
the first
on
one
putting in theaters.
True. That would have been really bad in box office. The
first
one,
Wonder
Woman, I really liked.
Just bad reviews. Sorry, go ahead.
True. The first Wonder Woman I really liked. Like she was like, "I'm Wonder Woman. I'm a bad bitch. I'm gonna fight everybody," and it was crazy. And like the second one, she's like, "Oh, I miss my man. I'm gonna wish for my man. Lame. Go
Yeah.
fight somebody or something. Strong,
Yeah.
independent Wonder Woman. You don't need no man. You don't need no
And then
Chris
they
Pine in
had,
some other dude's body.
And then she made her the jet invisible, but then she also had Chris Pine, who was a World War One pilot, jump into a modern day jet, and he just knew how to fly it. Like there was probably so many more buttons that he has never seen in his entire life. He was a garbage can. He throws a piece of art and like that's a trash can, but he jumps into a plane. And he's like, no, I was a pilot, so I got that. I was a pilot like 60 plus years ago, whatever it was.
I just finished teaching World War II, so I like went through like the planes and how like they evolved from World War I to World War II. Planes in World War I were such crap compared to World War II. So I can only imagine the jump then to a modern plane that's invisible. Like,
well, what was the what year was the first flight with the
Wright brothers?
The Wright brothers. Was that like
late 1800s, late 1800s,
1880 something?
Yeah.
So they weren't much more above that.
Just a little bit.
Because wasn't World War I like they didn't have like jet engines. It was just all propellers and things still, right?
Yeah. And then they used it as like just recon. They really didn't like fight with
the guns on it yet. All right. Well, so then another movie with Wonder Woman in it. Kev, talk about the original Justice League.
All right,
I got some thoughts.
Yeah. Well, the original Justice League, I think what made it so poor was actually the first flight was 1903.
Oh, so, wow.
Well, you were close. You said later.
Only like 10 years later.
Yeah, they were flying.
No, flying.
11 years later, but who's counting?
You apparently.
I can't allow for misinformation about World War I to be.
It started what, 1914?
1914, 1918. Yes. Anyway, Justice League. I think the MCU ruined it because of how well they put together the Avengers, the first Avengers movie. Because you think about it,
they wanted it so bad. They wanted to be like Marvel so bad, but it's like you can't just throw.
But they rushed.
You gotta build. You gotta build. Yeah.
Yeah, like they had all of them had their own origin movie, or had some sort of origin within another movie. So like the Hulk had his own movie. Granted, it was bad. Iron Man obviously.
Two movies, but one doesn't count.
Right. Well, Iron Man obviously, Thor obviously, Captain America obviously, and then you have Clint was in Thor, and then Natasha was in Iron Man. So like their origin stories were already shown.
Like you met these people before. You met them before this movie, so you weren't like, "Who's this person?" But in Justice League, they just decide, nah.
Yeah, and then you have also the major villain of Justice League is a big CGI guy. So I feel like you don't get
who wasn't in any of the other movies to even know. He just shows up.
Right.
Like, and he looks like shit. Steppenwolf.
Right. So
he looks like shit. He also looks like a weird like he like his they made in the new one that Zack Snyder one, he looks so much better. But obviously
he looked like a hammerhead shark guy,
like a PS2 or PS3 bad guy villain, like from a movie, like from a
so like I feel like it's disconnecting to the audience because you're trying to like connect with this villain that's not real, like it's like very poorly done CGI. And then you have obviously like I think just the overall spectacle of the powers of the people that you're dealing with in the Justice League versus the Avengers, I think is just way too like
because grounded in Marvel.
Right. Like you have like, yes, obviously Thor is like a god. And then like compared to like, Barton, who is Hawkeye, who's just a guy with a bow and arrow. But at least you have like Iron Man, who's a regular person. He's just really smart in armor. You have like the Black Widow. Like it's not as big. Where you have Superman, who like Superman's so lame because it's just.
Well, I think Zack Snyder's movies made him lame. Like he could be a very cool, interesting person, but they made him like an emo alien guy.
No, but like, but the fact that he's just
so dang powerful,
indestructible, except for a glowing rock. It's just so what? Like, how do you?
You
like,
gotta
so-
go. You got that's a gripe that you have with DC Comics that
Yeah.
go back way back. So
right, but even just like to make an interesting story for if they're Superman, there's only two ways.
Well, technically,
that
he's
that
not
can
even
go.
in half of this.
No, I know, but like, there's only two ways it can go. Either one, somebody gets a hold of his one weakness, that's it, or the other one is he's controlled, mind controlled, or something, and they have to defeat him. Like that's it.
cool. Yeah.
There's no other way, because what other villain
or
is going
something
to be
else,
able to
or
take him
something
on?
else that happens where like the sun is blocked, or something where it can like depower him a bit, so it's like becomes more
Right.
of a. But that, yeah, that's
But
there's
it's
you can't just do straight up with
it's-
him.
like there's no other like storyline that you can go, because it's just no one is
Superman.
more powerful than him. So
Well,
it's
also,
like,
I think my
okay.
biggest gripe with the movie is that they like honestly, even if the Avengers movies and Marvel did not exist, I still think this movie would not have done very well, because it's like we knew Wonder Woman and Batman, and then we knew Superman, but he's only in the for like the second half. But then so those people are the only people we knew. They are introducing Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman didn't have his standalone movie. That movie came out after. Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg. I think that's it, right? You know, that's the rest. That's the only people. So like more than half of the team is getting introduced in this movie. So we have zero clue who these people are. Like people know who they are, like the superheroes, but like they're getting introduced now, and then we're supposed to build up character moments with them and things, and really like develop their character. So then when things happen, we care, but we didn't have enough time to do that. And then the enemy is very as generic as it gets.
Yeah, it was just
is Steppenwolf like
rushed.
an alien or something like that?
Yeah, he's like conqueror kind of thing. But he, in the real lore of everything, he works for Darkseid, who's like the Thanos of DC, pretty much. But they like barely talk about that in the movie, because it was like. But with this movie, also, you know, people give it a pass because of like all the tampering that had all the studio tampered it. Zack Snyder had to leave because his daughter unfortunately committed suicide, which was very sad. And then so then Josh Whedon had to come in and pretty much like butcher the whole movie, which. Granted, I don't think it would have been much better if Zack Snyder was there to work on the whole thing. I think it still would have been close to what we got. Because like in the the Snyder cut, he added a lot of stuff, but it's 4 hours long. You can't have a 4 hour long normal movie. That's not how people will never see that. So like it's there's a lot. It's developed a lot more, and you get a much better theatrical movie, because it's like, okay, you get more time with people. They had a lot of new scenes, all this stuff, and all the CGI looks better, blah blah blah. But that's not what we got, so I can't.
Yeah, it's I think the major thing is it's rushed. You're introducing characters for us to care about in too quick of a fashion. It's just, you know, I don't know.
But also
comparatively,
they gave like solo films after the Justice League. So like the Flash is getting his
Why?
movie soon now, eventually, even though Ezra Miller is now pretty much canceled because he got arrested and was like threatening people and like assaulting a woman and all this different stuff. So he's doing really good.
Yeah.
So
they
Flash
should have
is kinda
just
out.
casted Grant. What's his name?
Oh, from
Rupert Grant?
the Flash
Is that what his
From the
name is?
CG one.
The-
From the CW show.
Oh, well.
Just let's let him ride out as it.
Well, I think they're going to put out this Flashpoint one because the Michael Keaton Batman's supposed to be in it somehow. Time travel,
Yeah,
Flashpoint stuff.
What?
Yeah, Michael
Yeah.
Michael Keaton's Batman is in the next movie, the next Flashpoint.
Yeah, well, the whole point of like
What the
Flashpoint,
hell?
you've seen the Flash show, how like
Yeah.
he runs
Time
so fast, he
travel
goes
stuff,
back in
yeah.
time. So he's going not back in time, he's going to a different dimension.
Right.
Different world, a different
'Cause-
multiverse.
But
type
Michael
thing.
Keaton's so old.
He's gonna be an old
I
Batman.
mean, like a Batman Beyond Batman, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Because that
Like,
like
the
if
idea is
they,
cool,
if they
but-
if they feed that into a Batman Beyond movie or live action, that would be dope. But I don't think they're gonna do that.
No,
Because
I
in
don't
that
think
one,
so
that
either.
like that'd be really cool to see, like that, because
The-
then it's like an old.
the
Michael
only
Keaton.
Tim Burton gonna direct that one?
That would
Probably
only
not.
be that. I would rather that because his Batman movies are like totally different than what we got now. But it's like it had its own. What's the word? You know, it had its own look,
Gusto.
its own vibe, its own like you knew what it was, and it was like it
Yeah.
knew it. As long as it, I'm okay with movies having being like weird and be quirky and stuff. But it's like as long as you jump into it fully, you're like, okay, now I appreciate
Right.
it. It knows what
Don't
it's
just
going
dip your
for.
I just don't
in.
like Tim Burton.
Yeah, me too.
I some of his stuff I used to not like, but in watching it, rewatching it again, it's like okay, he has a vision and like he's going full on into it, so I can appreciate that, opposed to just like
It's just-
matching weirdness.
Yeah. He's like, hey, here, you want to see some creepy shit? But are you a fan of Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter? Here you go.
Well, he was
Every Tim
married to
Burton
Helen
movie.
Bonham Carter, so that was his wife
Yeah.
for a while. They got
I don't know
divorced.
who that
That's
is.
nepotism. That's
Who is
nepotism.
That's Lestrange from
Bellatrix
Harry Potter.
Lestrange.
Bellatrix Lestrange.
Gotcha.
That was his wife, and she was in everything with him and Johnny Depp.
It's my
Creepers,
wife.
huh?
That's my wife. All right, let's vote. Are you guys sticking with your choices?
Yes.
Time?
I think that Justice League is worse.
I think
because
so,
of
too.
how like
Yeah. The only saving grace of Justice League is Jason Momoa's Aquaman. That's it. Just because
Yeah.
he's cool.
And the Flash is fun too.
I don't know. The Flash. I didn't
Silly-
really
silly,
care for
but,
his
you know.
Flash. I feel like he was too dumb.
I think it was
Like, too
dumb. He just
stupid,
like, he
immature.
just yeah.
Like
I think
he's
they tried to have like a Spider-Man esque quippiness.
They wanted
to his
because it's like
character.
they brought Josh Whedon, who was the one who wrote and directed the first Avengers movie. So like, oh, this is Justice League. We want the guy who did the Avengers movie to bring in his stuff into it that made the Avengers so popular. But it's not like a
Doesn't
magic.
work.
It's not a magic formula. It has to be developed prior.
over time.
Yeah.
Like it's like
It'll lay the groundwork for
Avengers
a movie like that.
Yeah, Avengers. If Avengers was like Justice League, where it would pretty much be like, okay, if Loki was not in Thor, we never met Loki before, and he just shows up for the Avengers, and then we have to kind of like build out him as a villain. That's pretty much
Yeah.
what Justice League does, where it's like,
And then also not knowing half of the
yeah, we don't know
Avengers, and they just
Thor, we don't
come in.
know. Thor shows up, we're like, yeah, it's my brother, and we're like, who the hell are you? Like,
what?
it would not make any sense, which is pretty much what happens in this movie.
Yeah.
So Justice
So
League moves
it's
on,
bad.
but it's definitely worse. It just does
that
not.
moves on as the worst.
Yeah, cuts. So next up is number 4 versus number 5, which I think is also a Kevin
Number
versus Brian. Number 4, the Ben Affleck's Daredevil, which is you, Kev,
Mhm.
right? And then number
Yep.
Kev just doesn't like Ben Affleck.
number
I
5.
just don't like Ben Affleck.
And then yeah, he hates Ben Affleck. And then number 5 is Ghost Rider. You, Bri, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's your number 5. Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. White
I'll go
guy.
first. So the original Daredevil movie,
It's
I
cheesy as
think
hell, man.
it's cheesy as hell, but I think part of it too is that early 2000s vibe that it has. But like in Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the early 2000s vibe is like endearing,
Yeah.
whereas in Daredevil it's just painful.
There's a bunch of Evanescence songs in the Daredevil movie.
Yeah, it's just so
Wake me
and then,
up,
like,
wake me up. I can't wake up. And he's like doing his
yeah,
flipping
the
around.
villain is the guy with the bullseye tattoo on his head. Like
Bullseye,
like,
that's his name, I think.
I know,
And
I
it's
know,
Colin
but
Farrell,
like,
which is funny.
yeah, it's like the comics are like zany and quirky because they're comics. If you're gonna put it into a live action film, you try to take some of that quirkiness, either take it all out or
Or go
leave it
full
all
into
in.
it.
Yeah, you can't.
They tried to leave in the
you know.
quirkiness, but then also do like early 2000s, like this is cool, like
Yeah,
Matrixy,
emo-y type.
Matrixy leather and different things that make it like as cool, but
I
then
got
also
frosted tips.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's just overall is really poor, and I don't really care for Ben Affleck's acting as a blind person in it.
Well, because also
I think-
in the origin of him, he does like in the Netflix Batman, I'm not Batman, Daredevil, like you see that he's been like trained as like
Yeah.
from ninjas and different stuff. In the Ben Affleck one, it's just because he went blind, all his senses got heightened, and then he just knew karate, like he just knew how to fight. Because there's this scene with bullies where he just like starts fighting them. It's like he didn't train. The blindness didn't make him good at fighting. He was
He
blind,
just
and
has
then
heightened senses.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
They're like,
doesn't-
oh,
yeah.
now isn't that he's like hand standing on the edge of a building when he's a
No,
kid.
that's
and
the
it's like,
Amazing Spider-Man.
no, I think he also does it too, where he's like when he's a kid, they would like a flashback to show when he just gets blinded, and then he's like walking around, he like does all this crazy stuff. It's like you don't get powers from getting blinded. That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's so
Gonna
just
give
poorly done.
viewers a bad idea. Like, oh shit! If I blind myself,
If I pour radioactive material in my eye, I can get bit by a spider. I'll have spider powers.
yeah, I'll gouge my eyes out with a spoon, and then
Well, I
I'll
hope
be the
no one
Daredevil.
takes these books or movies and comic books as real.
No, but
Well-
I think, and also too in conjunction watching like the Daredevil series on Netflix, and then watching
Well, it's not
that,
the same. Yeah.
it's so like, well, granted, the Netflix series is very good. Like it's
Mhm.
one of my favorite TV series, and Charlie Cox is just phenomenal. And then you watch the other one, it's just like, ugh.
He's just emo and just like, I'm not the
Yeah.
bad guy. I'm not. I'm trying to be a good guy, even though he does kill people right in the beginning.
Yeah,
Like he
just
he
not,
throws that guy into a train track, and he's like, even though he's a bad dude and got off from like going to jail or whatever, he don't you don't kill him.
yeah, it's just really poorly done,
Well,
really
it's
early,
the
like cringy early
yeah,
2000s.
it's the it's really it's like the time when like Spider-Man 1 did so well that everyone else was like, we got to make a movie, a superhero movie to be as good as Spider-Man, and then just you can't sometimes.
No, yeah. It's so it's very poor. Just
Very
I have
poor,
nothing
very
else
poor.
to say. Very poor.
Yeah.
Wake
Well,
me up, wake
to
me up
to
inside.
battle to battle that garbage heap of a movie, I have Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. That came out in, when did that come out?
I'm
I
gonna
say late
guess.
2000s.
I'm gonna guess 2007. Oh no,
I say 2009.
I say 2000,
No,
2010.
yeah,
I'm saying
2009.
2010
Um,
because I saw it. I don't know when
why
I remember I
why
saw
can't
it.
I find it?
What?
I, I don't know why you can't find
Your
it.
internet out?
Well,
No,
we're
it's just
talking to
like,
him, so no. My goodness, am I gonna have to do this?
oh, sorry.
Look it
What
up
did you
right now.
find? What did you say?
I said
I found it.
2009. He said 2010.
It's 2007.
Oh,
Ooh.
I said 2007 first, and then I
Ah, you
changed.
changed it. You
I
changed
know I
it.
did change it. I thought I couldn't remember when it came out. Okay, yeah, it feels like 2007, I guess.
Yeah. So I think like okay, so Ghost Rider is, oh, this guy's, no, he's a badass motorcyclist and he makes a deal with the devil.
I mean, the idea of
And
Ghost Rider is so cool.
yeah, it's a cool premise, and like it's like, creepy and dark and weird, but
He looks like it looks
like,
awesome on the motorcycle, but like
yeah, it's
Well,
badass. But like
ha-
Nick Cage, really,
Yeah.
he's like 70 and he's like,
he's not 70.
He's definitely
just
too old to
so
play this part.
old and weird
Yeah.
to be Ghost Rider. It just doesn't
I think they just wanted for him like
mesh well.
the screaming that he does when he's turning into Ghost Rider. They just wanted that. Oh
Yeah.
god, he's freaking out. His skin's falling off, all that stuff. They just
And
they
like
just like
that
really
scene
quite
where-
moved.
painful.
That scene where he's like, it's like spinning around him and he's like screaming and his skin's falling off. It
Yeah.
goes for like 30 seconds.
And
It's
it's
like
fire and
really
all
way
stuff.
too long. It's so drawn out. It's
But
like,
can anyone
oh,
else? Do you think anyone else would do a better scream freak out than he would? I don't think so.
No, but still, like, it's just poor. I mean, have you guys ever seen? I feel like you haven't. The Agents of Shield show.
No,
No.
I, mean, I didn't watch it.
So it's pretty good. It's entertaining, but I don't know what season it is. They bring in a Ghost Rider, and
It's not
the
Nick
way
Cage,
they
though.
portray, no, it's not the way they portray the Ghost Rider is much better. Like he's kind of like a, not monotone, but he's just like kind of stone, like emotion wise, but he's just like
Stone?
really,
That's
really-
crazy.
yeah, really badass. And he doesn't have a motorcycle. He has like a charger, like car, and like the
Oh.
engine is like on fire.
He
Of
rides
the,
a
and the
Segway.
wheels are on fire. Yeah,
Yeah, but the motorcycle
like,
is
it's-
Segway.
more legit.
He's a mall cop.
but no one's as good as Sam Elliott, obviously.
And his
Yeah,
horse-
I mean, like if
and the
they,
horse
if they
goes
did
on
the
fire.
entire movie with just Sam Elliott's Ghost Rider, that would be a great movie. He's like, the Rocky
Horse.
Mountains run down America like a backbone. I'm gonna set on fire now. Of course.
Coors.
I set on
The
fire.
bank
I
would
need to
beer.
cool down with a nice thing of Coors.
Yeah.
My mustache isn't shored. Probably.
It's also.
Right?
Did he have a fiery mustache? His skull had a fiery mustache.
I don't
Hopefully.
remember. It should.
I don't think it did, but
Well, also I think. Well, think about Nick Cage is weird, but then think of like story wise. I barely remember what happens, and there's like weird little ghoulish guys that he fights. Like whereas like one of the guys wind,
Yeah,
one
it's
guy's
like-
like
Well, it's
disease.
Yeah.
All these
And
random
there's-
element people.
they're like
Yeah.
the sons of the devil or something. I don't remember, but I know it was kind of anticlimactic because the like his whole like death stare thing that he does to like people like judging the soul or something. I don't know. He does it to like the one
Yeah.
guy, and then he like to beat the main villain person. It was so he just went like,
Just does that
and then that's it. He like cause all the
to the
souls that he
devil,
like
or
absorbed or something.
or it's that
No, no, no,
guy
no, no, no.
who
His
was
like son or something.
then I feel like he
Devil's son.
wouldn't he not?
His name's like, yeah, because
Because he
gave him
absorbed
that
all the
power, so, like,
souls.
Yeah, but
I,
like, wouldn't he be into that? Like, I think that's a weird thing to like the way to beat him, like with that.
well, no,
Like,
because the whole premise was he was absorbing all the evil souls.
Yeah.
So he had so many evil souls inside him, and then that he was able to just judge him, like all the souls that he absorbed.
Oh, yeah. See that
But it was
didn't-
just
I
so
didn't-
easy of like an ending.
this weird part is this universe implies that like the devil is real. So like, is there like a Jesus rider or something like that? Where's Jesus at?
Jesus rider.
God Rider.
He's on a donkey with like palm leaves.
See, but
Yeah.
then it could have been interesting. The way to defeat him is to go to like obviously I don't know the lore of the comic book, but like if there's like there's the devil and so it's like if God or like the whole the light side exists, Ghost Rider would like work with them somehow but use his demonic powers to like I don't know do something with that where it's like Sam Elliott instead of just being another Ghost Rider, he could have been like
He's Jesus.
Jesus on a horse and like then he like shiny and he I don't know.
Like a paladin or
Angel
something.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah, Angel,
Yeah.
that's it. Where he just like has his mustache just turns to beautiful wings.
And that's how he
Yeah.
flies.
Well, have you guys?
I forgot
speak-
about that end scene where he just kind of like stared at the dude, and that
and
was
then
it.
and
I
game
forgot
over.
about that. That
Have you
makes it even
guys
worse.
like speaking of Ghost Rider? Because there's like rumors all around. Have you guys seen Moon Knight yet?
I watched the first
No, I
episode. I have to
haven't
watch the
watched it.
second episode tonight.
It's
Is
good.
it good?
I like
Yeah.
it. So I like it so far. I watched the first
Yeah,
episode. I
and-
gotta watch the second one.
And so like in like comics wise, there's like a group that I think people think they're going to start putting together, where it's Moon Knight, Blade, the Black
Yeah.
Knight, Ghost Rider, like, and they deal with like
They have Blade
more
and
supernatural things.
yeah, that's cool. Because they
So
have
like
Blade
they'll deal with
and
like
they have
vampires and demons and stuff like that.
well maybe like Constantine too, like the Keanu Reeves movie.
Mhm.
That's a comic as well.
Yeah, but I think that's
I don't know if
is that
that's-
DC?
I don't know if
That's
that's
DC.
DC, is it? Or maybe
Yeah,
a third
that's
party
DC.
one.
That's DC.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Constantine is DC. Yeah.
But because they already have Blade and they already have the Black Knight is
Mhm.
Jon
So they just
Snow.
need Ghost Rider would be the last one.
We'll see.
And I would be
Well,
excited to see what the
opening up
MCU would do with a
the
Ghost Rider.
Multiverse of Madness is going to probably be nuts and like bringing everybody in. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I got my
Oh, yeah.
ticket.
Oh
I got
yeah,
my
the
tickets ready.
the Black Knight is
I gotta
Kit
get
Harington. That was at the end of the Eternals, right?
Eternals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you think you hear Blade's voice. It's Mahershala Ali, and he has a very
Mahershala Ali. Yeah.
distinct voice,
Yeah.
which I'm
So
excited because I like
that would be really
the original Blade movies are fun. Like the first one's good, and then the other ones are silly, but like it's just a fun, cool like character that I think Mahershala's gonna kill.
cool. Absolutely. And then Kit Harington gets to wield the sword again, so I'm all in.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
They want to be the Black
Don't.
Knights. I'm gonna sleep with my aunts, right? Aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kev's like,
Let's
don't
not
talk
talk
about
about
don't that season doesn't exist in Kev's mind.
No,
He just
I don't
blocks
talk
it
about
out.
In the world's mind, it does not exist.
It's Game of Thrones ended after season 6.
Correct.
Season
In our
6 was the
hearts.
peak, and then it just went.
All right, so let's vote on this boy. We got Daredevil versus Ghost Rider. What are you guys doing? You sticking?
I'm keeping my vote the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it.
What's
Declaration of
worse?
Independence.
I'm trying. It's hard to tell. They're both kind of like the
No
most.
fire.
They're both kind of like
Ghost
the
Rider steals the Declaration of Independence.
Now that's a movie right there.
national
Secret Lives
Ghost
of Charlotte.
Ghost Rider
That'd be a
National
good
Treasure
movie.
crossover.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'd see that. I'm gonna say that I think Ghost Rider is worse for me because at least
Really?
with Daredevil, I know that Daredevil was in that early 2000s like punky kind of like trying to be something. So I know what they were going after, so I can appreciate it. For like I know like it's also fun to watch where it's like silly because it's so part of that time, like the early 2000s time period. And then Ghost Rider is kind of just like I don't remember honestly. I remember more of Daredevil than I remember of Ghost Rider. I've seen both of them, so I think it's just more memorable to be Daredevil is a little better for me. So Ghost Rider moves.
That's fair.
And then
I'll
next
take
up, is I think Brian versus me. I think Brian, you have X-Men
Yes.
Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine,
Uh-huh.
and then I have Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, Brian, if you want to talk about
Yes.
X-Men Wolverine,
Sure.
because that was also on my
So
list, but you picked it before me because that's a
X-Men,
stinker.
yeah, it's a big old stinker. X-Men Wolverine is so confusing and dumb. Like, it's just like, oh, Wolverine wakes up out of nowhere and he's like this other person, and then they go back in time and he was this other person and he was this person. Like, what is happening here?
No, he wasn't.
And like
he wasn't another person. That was him all the way through.
Yeah,
no,
he
yeah,
just
I know,
changed his name.
obviously. That's what I'm
Oh.
saying. But like,
Oh, well, he just
his
lived for a
memory
long
got
time.
all messed up and everything. Well, I know that. I'm saying his
Were you
memory
saying he was a
is
different
all
person?
out of whack and stuff. Yeah, I meant the identities, different person to others, I should say. You know what I mean?
No,
I
don't.
gotcha.
I don't get it.
Whatever. Ignore that. Like, it was cool at first when he didn't have like the adamantium yet, like that showed like his
bones,
origin with his brother and stuff like that, with the bones and stuff. Like, it was cool at first, and then it just went downhill really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
And like the squad that he had was very strange.
Will I Am.
And like Will I Am, for some reason, like, he's just there.
Well,
And
also
he's
it
just
doesn't
like,
make sense.
boom, 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 and he's just weird. You can just like teleport.
Well, it's also the that like in the original like X-Men movies, like Sabretooth is a totally different guy, and then in this one they just make wasn't his brother Sabretooth? Pretty much.
Yeah, I
Right?
honestly don't. I didn't really.
Because Sabretooth
like, I
I don't
thought
think his-
so.
in the Sabretooth and the
I
other
think those
ones,
are two separate different people.
I know, but I think they're the same person. Like they're supposed to be the same person. I think.
No, I mean, like, aren't those two different characters?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Well, the
But,
original.
I mean, they made them look very similar and just
like
like
they have the same
with
powers,
power and everything.
but like he's
Oh.
his brother, and then in the original 3 movies, he's like Magneto's big with giant eyebrows henchman. Like they're not supposed to be
Yeah.
the same person, so it's weird there.
Well, the way that they went with all those movies, where like the newer ones just completely negated the other ones.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
Days
it
of
got
Future
all
Past,
weird,
they got completely revamped or whatever. So like
which
those never
bothered me
happened.
so much.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Well, that was like they had to like, okay, we're just gonna keep going with this continuity and don't worry about it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
retconned the whole thing.
First 3 movies.
Yeah.
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 That was very frustrating. But yeah, like I think the absolute worst part of this is after, what's his face, the guy, the doctor, what's his name, who
Oh.
like kind of made him-
Stryker.
Stryker.
Yeah, Stryker. Yeah, like his whole lab thing and everything that then,
then
turned
making,
Ryan Reynolds into this
Well,
weird
that's
whatever
supposed to be Deadpool.
Yeah, I know, but
Which
like,
is the
what is
weirdest
that?
thing.
What is that? Like like before he's
Ryan
whatever
Reynolds.
you call it, Deadpool. He's Ryan Reynolds with the swords, and
Well,
he's
like
like
Wade
cutting
Wilson, I
bullets in
guess.
half.
Well,
That was cool.
Wade Wilson, I
Yeah.
guess.
Which
Yeah.
Wade Wilson wasn't like a ninja. He was
Yeah.
just a mercenary.
Mercenary guy.
Yeah. And then they, out of nowhere, when they do like this whole surgery on him, they seal his mouth up.
because he
So
talked
that
a lot.
takes away the entire that takes away the whole thing with, and then, oh, no swords for you, let's just make giant katanas come
put
out
in
of
his
his
arms.
hands. So dumb for no reason.
Well, it's also like that character of Deadpool. Like, there's comics for a long time about him and being like, a quippy, pretty much what he was before he did the surgery, and like that's the whole thing. Like the movies that came out after, obviously we know him very well, but it's like, why would the people making the movie see that this is the comic book character of this person, and then just be like, you know what? Let's go completely opposite of that, with his mouth shut.
Let's
and the
sew his
zombie
mouth
beard.
shut.
Yeah, like it's so random. It's hilarious now.
How does
that
he live?
He gets IV fluid, I guess.
Part
So
of me, it makes me think that this movie is so bad. I don't know if you guys remember, the first time we saw this movie was remember we watched it bootlegged without the CGI.
What?
Do you remember
Yes.
that?
Yeah, because
That's
then
the
when they cut his head off and it like lasered off that like power plant thing, it was just like a gray head.
Yeah,
that was
and then
falling.
like the one
Yeah.
scene when he fights his brother and he like throws him down like the logs. and it's just like a gray, like unanimated body, like going like this.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't remember that
Why
at
did
all.
Where did we get that?
I don't know.
Where did we
Why
get
did we
that?
watch that?
Why
Like,
did I?
why would
I don't remember that at all. Did we?
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
remember that.
Did I download
Okay.
it? Why did I not? I don't remember at all.
Maybe I don't know how we got
maybe
it.
I think dad got it off of somebody
like
on the
it's in the
street
city?
in Manhattan once.
Yeah, like I don't know why we bothered to watch. It was like we got it early or something. I don't know, but
We
like
just
it
had to
was
imagine what was supposed to be.
So,
again.
Yeah,
it was like a
so,
rough,
like,
it was
in
like a
my
rough
head-
cut before the CG was
Yeah,
put in. I
yeah.
guess that's really funny.
in my head. That's what I see from this movie. Even
I
though
totally
I
forgot
did
about
go
that.
back and rewatch it with the CGI afterwards,
With the
but like
normal
I still
movie.
couldn't get it out of my head of like
Just gray cinematics, just like
it was it. But yeah,
That's
so
really
like in
funny.
my
That
head, I
was so
see
funny.
like. It's funny.
well, one of the biggest things that in the fun, not in the undone version, the real version, when he's gets his claws and he looks him in the mirror, and like he like goes shing, and then he like taps them together and they spark like crazy, and they look like cartoon claws.
Yeah, they're so bad.
They're like it look you know in it looks like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It looks like a drawing like that in live
Yeah.
action, and I'm like,
The
and
budget was not
it's also
big.
like it's also like they have the claws they can like put in between the fingers like Brian used to make. Like they have like legitly made ones. Why could they not just have him like put the sound effect in and then cut to him holding them up like whoa and clinking them together and all that stuff? I'm like, and just be legit metal. Like that was like the easiest thing for anyone to do. And they went with
It would cost them like
cartoon.
$30.
Yeah.
$30 of sheet metal.
And they probably also had those like on set anyway, because like if he's doing scenes with things, it's probably so much easier for him to swipe around with those than to
Yeah.
CG and cartoon ones every time.
Well, also the horrible scene with Gambit and with the claws as well, when he's just doing this and like cutting off the fire escape for
is
no
just like,
reason.
whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It's like, what is this? It's turning
That
into a
looked like
cartoon.
Garbage. Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
like a Roger Rabbit thing, like that somebody edited on like iMovie or something like
Yeah.
that. It was
Yeah.
so
And
bad.
like Gambit,
That
I
was
I
bad.
always wanted to see Gambit, and it was cool to, I guess, kind of cool to see him, but like it's not in the good movie, so kind of like lessens it altogether. Channing Tatum was
hopefully
very
they-
upset that he was supposed to be Gambit, and then they scrapped it all because it just the X-Men they probably because Marvel now reacquired it, so now like Marvel's gonna bring back the X-Men eventually, and they're like maybe they'll make it, but I
Yeah.
think he's too big to be Gambit.
Yeah,
now.
Yeah,
I think he
they
can do
need
a
to go
good job
somewhere else.
depending.
Yeah, I think they need to find. I mean, I don't really know the comics well enough to know like personality wise who fits
Yeah.
what Gambit should be, but I feel like I like when they would go somewhat unknown and not bring in somebody like
For sure.
who's like an already known actor from something else.
Chris Pratt.
The voice of Mario, Chris Pratt.
Not Star-Lord.
I just don't get it how he was cast as that. It's so frustrating.
That's like a
Also,
whole nother pod, right?
especially the fact that the guy who voices Mario is still like he's alive.
Yeah, he's a guy.
He's like 60.
No,
Yeah, but,
he's
like,
not
older than
old.
that.
And like Mario's
He's
voice
older.
is so iconic, even though it doesn't say too much. Like, but every time, like all that stuff is so. I'm sure he could talk like that. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Also,
And
I
that
just
guy
don't.
also voices Luigi too. So like just have
Yeah.
him.
Well, they have
and
Charlie
like,
Day
just
doing
have-
doing Luigi. I'm okay with Charlie Day being Luigi because that's more of like that more is like he's like a silly sidekick guy that fits. But we have like Chris Pratt is Mario. Makes-
Charles Martinet. He's 66 years old. He lives in San Jose, California. The voice of the
Like
generation.
I guess they figured if they did Mario that guy's voice, then they would have to stick and do like Luigi that voice too.
That's fine.
But,
Make it
like,
happen.
Yeah, I don't.
cares.
I
It
don't
just
know.
doesn't make any sense.
He's
Like,
also
is
Chris Pratt is
gonna
also
put on
gonna.
like a
I don't know if
like
he,
an Italian accent.
like it seems,
Is he
it
gonna
seems
be
like it's gonna be
"Hey, I'm Chris
it's
Pratt."
gonna be like offensive.
It-
It's a me, Mario.
He's
'Cause
also
how is he not-
going.
he's not going to say that. He has to say that. It's a me, Mario.
Hey, it's me, Mario. I'm Chris Pratt. Like, how does he talk? I don't know.
He's also gonna be Garfield too in the new Garfield
Yeah.
Chris
movie.
Pratt.
Is that? I thought that was. I thought that was a joke.
No, I'm
It's
pretty
like-
sure that's real.
Hollywood's just like,
Who-
we
who was-
love you, bro.
Who was Garfield before that? It was
Bill Murray?
Yeah, Bill Murray.
That's a good one. He's just like cranky. It was a good voice for it.
Yeah, that fit.
All right. Well, let's go back to the movie.
God,
we keep talking
Chris
about. We keep
Pratt.
getting sidetracked. So you have anything else to say
so
about
yeah,
Wolverine, bro?
No, it's just a little dumpster fire of a movie. I think the best part of that worst movie was when like he got help from after his surgery thing. He got help from that old couple at the farm, and he was
Yeah.
like, oh, you're my mom and dad now, and then they got shot, and we're like, oh shit, that was the
Yeah,
whole.
that was-
That was the
That's where he got his motorcycle and his yellow leather jacket.
Yeah, the leather jacket.
yes.
Yeah. See, like that.
This was
like
my
the
son's.
more of the human moments, like with like because you have the huge action scenes, but more of like this, like the subtle human moments where people are just being people. That's why Logan is so dang good because they put in those like human moments of like and stuff with him and Patrick Stewart and everything like that, and then the girl, like that's like one of the best X-Men movie because it's like it's legit.
Yeah.
Do stupid silly stuff. But going over to another dumpster fire, Amazing Spider-Man Dose, Andrew
You know,
Garfield's.
I still
He
don't
did
think
his
this is a
best.
dumpster fire.
If
It's
you
not
look at
great.
there's a lot. There's so much in it. That's why. It's because if you go, okay, we have Harry Osborn introduced, played by a little waifish boy. What's his name? Dahan, I think his last name is that actor guy. He's introduced out of nowhere, and
Mhm.
like oh yeah, they're like we know like I think they just assume that everyone who saw Spider-Man movies know that Harry Osborn and Peter Parker are friends, but they never established
Yeah,
that before.
but no mention of it in the first one.
Because
yeah.
in the first movie he has to like get in. He has a hard time getting into Oscorp to see Dr. Connors. But I'm like, if
Yeah.
you're best friends with Harry Osborn, why would you need to sneak in or have like use Gwen to get into Oscorp when you know like the kid who's like her pretty much help owns it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I think that the worst part of that movie, other than Jamie Foxx's Electro, how poorly they did that, but their like lack of chemistry as friends, because like they were
Yeah.
supposed to be best friends, then he left to go to like a boarding school.
And
You
came
would think
back and
that they
just
would
was
have
there.
some sort of, it was just an awkward
Yeah.
interaction between the two of them, like from start. So yeah, that, and then his dad has like a weird goblin-y disease or something
Yeah. Also, yeah. So
out of
there's so
nowhere.
many things in this movie that like they could just if they just stuck with one avenue of where like, if they want to do Electro, just do Electro and make that like have an arc, have just Electro. They did the same. This is the same thing with Spider-Man 3, the first one, the first Toby one, where it's like they're just trying to shove too many things in one movie. Like, and this is all supposed to be like you have so many villains to do. Like, don't do them all at once. It never works. Where you have
Yeah.
it's
The only
him-
time that it works is the Dark Knight when they introduce Two-Face at the end. That's the only time it works.
well that yeah, but he can take over the movie. Like it's kind of like it was still like okay enough to be like, you know, like that work like yeah, because it's but you have Electro, which even if you guys see, that's a big funny thing that when he falls in the electric eels, they show a close-up of his gap in his teeth being fixed by the electricity going through his body.
What?
No joke. If you watch
Why?
it, there's a close like he's getting electrified. All the eels are going around him. They do a close up of his two front teeth, which has a gap. Jamie Foxx had a gap or has a gap, and then it's like the electricity is going over his face and his mouth, and it fuses them together to become one. Maybe because like they made the makeup for Jamie Foxx, like they made or he got his teeth fixed. Maybe he got new teeth, maybe, or the Electro costume just used like to put teeth in for him. I don't know. Whatever it was, they deliberately showed it, even though I would never think of wait, his teeth look different when he turned to Electro. He's fucking blue. Of course, I would think he looks different. Like that's like feels like they're trying to like get ahead of people. Like, oh, his teeth are different. It's like, yeah, he got.
Actually, continuity.
But like it was just like so egregious and silly, and he has zero personality or arc. He's like obsessed with Spider-Man, but then like ends up just wanting to hurt him because he's like mean to him. It's like it's not they're squeezing these villains that have
I'm
no
gonna
time.
kill all of New York because nobody remembered my birthday.
Yeah, basically
That's the whole thing.
But
But it's like
I see,
they
to me,
they just can't do it.
the movie ends with a not redeeming because it's horrible, but like ending when Gwen dies, where it's like, oh, they went
Spoilers.
there. Like,
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
and
but that's the hard thing with Gwen Stacy because that's like one of the in like the comics world. That's like one of the biggest things of Spider-Man, where it's like if she's dating Gwen Stacy, it's pretty much like she's gonna die. We like it's already known because that's like a
right,
big
but
thing in
still,
the
like they
comics.
actually showed it.
Yeah,
Like, they like, and I think that whole scene is really well done, and Andrew
I felt
Garfield throughout
nothing
it
for
does
it.
a good job. as
felt nothing for it,
Spider-Man.
though.
Well, it's because
Yeah.
you have no soul.
No, I'm just saying because like their chemistry was just like it's just like not like I don't feel the chemistry between them. They were
Well,
dating at the time.
I did.
Garfield and
I
Emma
thought they
Stone.
would. The best part of the movie was Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, and just their quirkiness
just
together,
don't
but
like
then
the
also his
quirkiness.
portrayal of Spider-Man. His Peter Parker was a little too
I don't
cool
like
and like
his Peter
smooth.
Parker. I think we already talked about
his-
this. Where we talked about
Yeah,
Peter Parker.
with Spider-Man, but like his
my least
Spider-Man is
favorite.
very good.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man.
Like he's
Spider-Man was a little too like cocky, opposed to like being quirky, like and
well,
quippish.
he's like a cocky quippy.
No,
is
quippy.
what- it's like kind of-
Quippy is one thing, but he was like I don't know. He just his.
He's a
I liked
confident
him.
quippy.
He like this thing like where everyone's saying that they want him to come back in the Sony universe because in the No Way Home he really like redeemed himself, and he did seem even like a better Peter Parker and better Spider-Man in No Way Home than he did in his own movies. I feel like because he was. I don't know. He
Well,
had
it's
like
also
much more,
it's a part of a better movie, so you have
Well,
that
true.
positive realization and connection between it's a really good movie and how he was really great in No Way Home, but I don't think he was that much different than he was in those other movies. I think it's just the movie was bad,
maybe.
so you associate it with that. Like if you take like what he does in I don't know if it's the first one or the second one where a guy takes out like a switchblade and he's like, oh my god, small knives.
Yeah,
like
it's the first one.
my one. Yeah, so like he has those moments in it where he is kind of cocky, but like with like these quips, but it's just in a bad movie.
I just didn't like I don't know. I think maybe the cockiness always put me off. I guess because I guess maybe because
but in No Way Home he's the same way. It doesn't put you off there.
But he wasn't because it wasn't as cocky against like bad guys. It was these super villains, not just a guy on the street. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But what's another thing in this movie that was really bad? The whole thing about his parents being involved with something which like had nothing to like. It's like the secret train car in the subway with the tokens in his calculator that like opened his whole lab.
I forgot about that. That was dumb.
Zero sense and doesn't need any reason to be in there. Where it's like,
I guess it gives a mystery surrounding his parents. I didn't mind that.
I did. It's too much.
I liked how it connected in the sense that he created the spiders. And
I hate
his
that though.
DNA.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest no-no of Spider-Man, because it's supposed to be
no-no?
because it's supposed to be anyone could have gotten bit by the spider and become Spider-Man. It just happened
Not
to be
just Peter Parker.
Not just it was okay because it's like now Peter Parker was more destined to be the thing. That's like with Miles Morales, like in that universe. It could have been him. It was him that got bit, and that he became Spider-Man. Like it could have been anybody. That's like kind of like the whole thing where it's like you see yourself in Spider-Man because you're like, oh, I could have if I got bit by the spider, technically I could have been Spider-Man. Where it's like if it was his dad and it was like all part of the kind of not a plan, but like a kind of like so involved with his family that it's like more.
No, I get you on that. I didn't mind the whole train car thing because it also shows too that like he's really smart. Like his dad was a really smart scientist, so it kind of like
we know that
makes sense. But like you see it more so like
in the first one we saw him making his web fluid and stuff. So like I already knew he was
right, smart. But it gives a reasoning as to why he's so smart.
Well, just because your dad's smart,
just because your dad's smart doesn't make you smart. Especially because his parents died when he was young. So
I mean, intelligence and aptitude for things like that is genetic. It's not something that you just.
Well, then explain us. Our parents are super dumb.
Oh, what? There are only fans. There are only fans.
Rude.
Shout out, mom and dad. You guys are both geniuses. I'm so sorry.
And I mean, we're really getting into the weeds here. None of us are very bright, so it's really not.
I think I'm pretty bright.
We're competent. We're competent enough.
We're competent.
I do pretty good at Jeopardy. I do usually do pretty good at Jeopardy. I get points.
Such a low bar.
Dad's very logical. He's very logical.
Logical. I'm very logical. All right. Well, Kev loves Amazing Spider-Man. We know this. But
it's not. No. If we're looking at all the movies on this bracket, it's not. It's the best one on this entire bracket.
Maybe. I don't know. I
100%.
I personally don't like it at all because it's a mess of a story and it just kind of like.
No, I agree with you.
It ended that franchise of Spider-Man, which is like.
Yeah, but I mean, there's like so many other worse movies that we have on this list.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying just So just talk about this matchup at least.
And then with No Way Home, redeeming it makes it even better.
Yeah, but I'm not putting that into account because that's like same thing with Justice League. We're not taking into Snyder Cut into.
Yeah, but the Snyder Cut is even not good.
It's
Like,
no, it's not.
so-
It's better though. I'm saying it's better. So it's like
Better. It still would make my list here because it'd be a 4-hour movie.
well, regardless, you're voting for Wolverine, Brian. You're staying with Wolverine.
Yeah, I hate that movie.
Irregardless.
No.
No.
All right, so Wolverine moves on. Up next, before we take a break, is Kev's issue, right?
Yep.
Batman versus Superman, and then me, Suicide Squad.
The original.
The first one.
All right. So before we get into this one, we'll take a break.
No, we do a break after this.
After this, okay.
Yeah, after this we do it. Then before we go up to back up to the top of the bracket, we take a break.
I see. I didn't see the show notes. Sorry.
Well, I just said
All
it.
right, I'll go. I thought you meant like you'll mention it and then.
Oh
we'll
no,
go.
I meant after this bracket. Go ahead.
We go. Well, yeah. All right. Batman versus Superman. I just
movie.
honestly though, I think I just don't like Ben Affleck. I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. We found out because he is
every
in
single
all
one of your picks.
every one. I'm
He's
trying to
not
think
my.
of
He's
a
definitely not
movie-
my favorite Batman at all.
Like I can't think of a movie that I like other than Good Will Hunting that Ben Affleck is a part of.
The Town is a good movie.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's a good movie. You'd like.
What
you'd
about
like it.
Gone Girl?
Uh, Never seen it. Ben Affleck's in it. I'm not gonna watch it. But
What about Argo?
I've never seen it.
I thought it was called Fargo.
No,
No,
there's
that's a
movie called
different-
Fargo, and
that's
there's a movie called
different movie.
Argo.
That's
Too many
that's
Argos. What about Casey Affleck? You a fan of Casey Affleck?
Who the hell's that?
His brother.
Another actor whose
He's
name
got
is
a brother?
Casey.
No,
Mhm.
it's his brother, Casey Affleck. Yeah,
I didn't know
Manchester by the Sea. It's a very sad movie. He was in Ocean. He
He,
was in the Ocean's movies
he kind of talks like this.
from Boston.
What do you sound like?
That was
Marlon
pretty
Brando.
good. That was pretty good.
You sound like
Not gonna lie. If
Marlon
you
Brando. Did this, you would have.
No, this is Marlon Brando.
All right. Get into the movie. Batman sucks.
Batman versus Superman. I
Superman
mean,
sucks too.
granted, I just don't. This is correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first movie we see Ben Affleck's Batman, right?
Yes. Yes.
This came out
This is before Justice.
This is
before
before
the
Justice.
Batman. Wait, there was no standalone Batman Ben
No.
Affleck movie.
There was a Man of Steel.
No.
It was Man of Steel, which was the Superman movie Zack Snyder did, and then they went to Batman versus Superman, which starts with Batman, like Bruce Wayne, pretty much going through the wreckage of what happens at the end of Man of Steel, which is
Right when he
Henry
like
Cavill and Zod pretty much just smashed. That's why I also hate that movie too. It's like all the action's just like smashing through full buildings, like everyone's dying. Like it's so insanely
all of Manhattan Island or Metropolis is dead.
Metropolis, yeah, is completely just leveled because just two powerful men are flying through the building. It's like,
Two
and like
literal
that
gods.
makes sense that Ben Affleck's like, this guy sucks because he pretty much destroyed the whole city. Well, I guess technically, if Wayne Enterprises are there, so like they flew from Metropolis and they also went through Gotham then too. If he's there with Wayne Enterprises and stuff.
Yeah, and
Like,
so
when in reality they are one
destroyed-
and the same.
they destroyed
It's
two
all New York.
cities. No, in the
well,
in,
it's
in the
Brooklyn
movie,
and
Manhattan,
like
right? It's
think
all
of it as like Brooklyn and Manhattan.
because in this movie they pretty much like when they're on the top of that building, they're said like they pretty much point over there like, oh, there's Gotham.
Yeah,
so they're
actually
across the
no,
river
I
from
take that
there.
back. It's like LIC and Manhattan because like you
Sure.
can see it from
Well, you can see
like
Brooklyn
across the
from
river.
You can see Brooklyn from this river. I mean, Brooklyn and Manhattan. Lower
I don't
Manhattan.
know. I feel like the view is better from LIC.
Well,
you just
I-
like Brooklyn.
Go to Dumbo and you can see both under both bridges the one world trade. Everything
Dumbo.
is all
The
is all right
elephant?
there. Dumbo down under Manhattan bridge overpass.
No, that you're thinking of the elephant with the big ears.
Well, that's what Dumbo stands for. Down under Manhattan bridge overpass.
Yeah, in the Disney movie as well.
And it's named after.
Mhm.
So this movie is just really bad. One, because Ben Affleck's Batman I don't care for. And how it's just like this is also his like standalone movie, but it's not.
They
DC
love
it's just
to-
like
that, huh?
they
just
just can't give
Batman's
us
here
standalone
now.
Movie. Yeah.
And they like had so many things that they like brought in of like there's like a Robin costume that has like a Joker like thing written on it. Like
It's
so
supposed
like
to
obviously there's a
be,
lot of backstory there
yeah, that they
that we
don't.
just we don't talk about. He's
It's
just
like this is
old.
more like a
He's an
grizzled
old Batman.
Batman who's been in the shit for a
Right. But
while.
like
Yeah.
so
And
it's
he
just
kills
like
people. He kills
yeah.
people in this movie, which is Batman's like biggest deal. He doesn't kill people.
Yeah. So it's
And
just
then
all
Zack
around.
Snyder's just like, I don't care. I want him to be badass. So he kills
Yeah.
people.
Well,
It's
he
like,
has to kind of keep up with Superman, which is like near impossible. But then like the only good part about this movie is Jeremy Irons is awesome because he's just cool.
he's a cool voice.
So
Cool Alfred voice.
he's a cool outfit. So that's it. Other than that, and the worst part of the entire movie is the whole Martha situation
Yeah.
when he says
I
Martha.
remember
he's like,
laughing
why'd
in
you
the
say that
theater.
name?
I remember laughing in the
Like-
theater, like they both have the moms are the same name, and that's what stops him.
Yeah, like
It was
he's
insane.
good now because
Yeah, and
His
they're
mom's-
like besties right after that. It's like you just almost shanked him, bro. What are you doing?
yeah, I don't. And then
But
also Wonder
also-
Woman shows up, right? Doesn't Wonder Woman
Yeah,
show
Wonder
up?
Woman
at the
shows
end?
up, and then she
So
shows up at the end
she's
to
also
help,
in
and
it.
then Ben Affleck's Batman it looks at Superman. He's like, "Oh, is she with her? She with you? I thought she was with me, or I thought she was you." Or like, and Batman knows her. He's met her earlier in the movie.
Yeah,
And
it's-
Wonder Woman's not wearing a mask or anything, so you could see that it's the woman you were talking to like 2 days ago. So why do you not
Yeah.
think she in? Well, the other weird part
forgot.
is the stupid
Because he's
is
concussed.
Lex
he got punched by.
Lex Luthor is stupid, and his plan doesn't make any sense either. Where it's like he wants to kill Batman, but he also wants to kill Superman at the same time.
Isn't he played by what's his face?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
No, it's Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg with long hair. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it's just like again,
it's a mess.
bringing in characters just to have them, and poorly done.
And then they fight what's it called at the end?
Abomination.
Abomination.
No.
Yes,
that's not it.
yes, it is. Abomination. Yes,
no,
it is.
Abomination's Marvel.
No, what's his name? Pretty
sure it's Abomination.
Doomsday.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's Abomination?
Abomination is like the bad Hulk.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
pretty much the same green, gray muscle thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could pull out like every Marvel character. There is a DC equivalent.
Yeah.
Where did Doomsday come from? Like who was
It's
that? guy?
it's Zod's body. They just like
Oh,
But they,
reanimated.
yeah,
or
that's
but
something.
they, yeah,
right.
but Jesse Eisenberg put his blood into it, so it's like Lex Luthor and Zod's corpse pretty much put together into like the spaceship machine liquid that then turns
Some
into that
goo.
thing.
It's really Frankenstein if you think about it.
It is, but it's
Yeah.
very stupid. That's also,
Yeah.
and also because Zack Snyder had so much shit from people complaining about how they destroyed so much of the city in Man of Steel, that in Batman vs Superman a couple of times they out loud say by military watching the situation, Batman in the situation, oh, that this island we're on and we're fighting this about Doomsday is abandoned. No one inhabits here. Like they kept saying that like 3 times because
Don't worry,
he's like
folks.
Zack Snyder's like,
Nobody's here.
please don't yell at me again for destroying a city when people live there because there's no one here.
Well, they
Like,
do the same thing in Justice League too. They
Yeah,
just,
like, oh, we're in-
the enemy thing. They just happen to inhabit an old abandoned
And the
like
one- and the-
nuclear power plant.
and the one
in the middle
family
of
that
nowhere.
lives there, they make sure they save them. So like, this is abandoned. No one's here. It's just some random
Yeah.
place in Russia. Don't worry about it.
All right,
Lazy.
It's just
It's just lame. It's all
it's
so lame.
all around.
I
lame.
just but there's people who absolutely love Zack Snyder and everything he does is like God to them, and I
What
don't
else does
understand
he?
it.
What else has
He
he
did
done?
300. He did Sucker Punch,
Which
he
also I
did-
didn't really like.
300's
that
fun
much.
because it's like there's not like
Alright.
much to it. It's just like a bunch of muscle men fighting, and it looks cool. Like that's pretty much what he's good at. But like story wise and character wise, he doesn't do it very well. That's why I don't love it.
Yeah, it's like Michael Bay just blowing things up.
Or and flying around you with a camera and everyone's sweaty and there's lens flares. Okay, versus Suicide Squad, which is my pick. Another movie that just got edited to hell by the studio.
Right,
And just-
rebooted again.
Well, it literally the movie was so bad they had to make a new one. Like what? Less than 5
A
years
year
later.
later?
Like it was so soon after.
It was.
It was crazy how fast they remade this movie.
I was very confused when the second one came out. I was like, didn't
they just
didn't
did
they
it.
just do
It's
that?
so weird.
I was very
But then they also kept like the only good part of the movie was Harley Quinn and Margot Robbie, so they kept her.
And they kept Rick Flag as well.
Yeah, and that's
But they also they
everybody else
improved his
is good.
character in the second one. But anyway, I'm not looking at the second one because that one's definitely a little better. But this
Still
one's just
not
like
great though.
it's not. Did you guys watch Peacemaker? That was a good. It's a really good show. You should watch it. It's very good.
Okay, I've heard it was good.
Spin-off.
but
It's
I
a
haven't had time.
spin-off of this new one. But the old one, one is the whole like beginning is just like a music video. They have so many music like licensed music drops in the beginning. It's kind of insane. Like they're introducing each character, and each character gets like a full-on like music video for their introduction. And then the story doesn't make sense. And then all the villain's the worst, which is just like the Enchantress. She just is there making a sky beam and turning people into little putties from Power Rangers. What's her like? There's zero motivation for who she is or what she is, what she's doing. You have Jared Leto's
motivation.
You have Jared Leto's Joker, who's literally insane.
Terrible.
Like I'm not a huge Jared Leto fan, but it was like he like I want to do something different because I would be terrified if I was like cast as the new Joker because you have Heath Ledger's Joker who's like such a high bar and you want to do something different but then by doing something like Jared Leto, like I want to do something different. He did something different and no one liked it. So it's like really hard. Like it's like impossible to do a good Joker now because of Heath Ledger's high bar, I think. So I don't blame him that much, but it's also just it was ridiculous. So the story doesn't make sense. All the characters suck. Literally the only one that's good is Harley Quinn, because Margot Robbie is like really good at playing that character now, and her in Birds of Prey was really good. Like it's just fun, and she like really, gets that character now. But everyone else sucks. And Will Smith slapped.
And then Will Smith came up and he slapped somebody.
I beat you.
Oh.
I beat you too.
You bastard.
Knew it was coming.
Yeah. So
Keep Harley Quinn's name out your fucking mouth. Yeah.
He like news came out today that he's banned from the Oscars for the next 10 years. Which is like okay.
So what does that even mean? Like is he
Nothing.
not going to get? Yeah.
He can't be nominated. He can't be nominated or show up. He got it. He won one, so he's like, all right, cool, peace. I'm just gonna make.
Yeah, bye.
He has enough money. He has enough money. He doesn't need to work ever again. He'll be fine forever.
Yeah, he won that Oscar after he slapped him. So,
Yeah,
so like it doesn't
insane.
matter anymore.
Insane. All right. Well, Suicide Squad overall just really forgettable bad movie. The story is all over the place. There's just everything is bad. And then they had to remake it like 2 years later to make up for how bad it was.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to keep my vote the same because Ben Affleck's the worst.
This is a tough one for me because I also really don't like Batman versus Superman. It really irks me. So, Brian, what's your vote? I'm still undecided, really.
Yeah, I think both movies were bad. Obviously, this whole bracket is destined to do that, and it's designed in that way on purpose. But I think I'm gonna vote for Suicide Squad because, I mean, I liked what's his name as Superman. I thought like he was a good actor for Superman. I guess just because like
Superman's too emo though for me.
Yeah,
Just
but I mean,
always
like I said, it's a bad movie, but like that guy's cool, I guess. The Witcher guy, what's his name?
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, that guy.
So you like
does
Superman,
does he have a butt chin?
Pretty much. He's got a killer jaw.
Well, I mean, to be Superman, you have to,
And Batman, yeah.
That's pretty much part of the.
Yeah.
Did you see Batman yet, Brian?
No, I'm waiting for it to come out on HBO.
April 19th, so it's like coming out soon.
Oh, and that's like a little over a week.
Yeah.
So that would fit into our conversation here because our bracket here is basically DC movies. So,
well,
yeah.
Well, DC because Marvel did such a good job. DC has never been able to catch up. Oh, actually, yeah. I think it's ever. Oh no, actually no. Wolverine is Marvel. Daredevil is Marvel. Ghost Rider is Marvel.
Ghost Rider is Marvel.
Yeah, so, but everything else.
So those are all pre-MCU movies.
Right.
Very
Yeah,
true.
of course.
There's not a single MCU movie in this.
Well, Thor: The Dark World, I was maybe thinking almost thinking about putting it on there because it's really bad.
I thought about
Yeah,
that
but-
as well. But
But
others
just
it's
were worse.
not as bad as these ones.
Like it's just the story is stupid, but like everything else is still there in that movie.
Yeah.
All right. So so Brad, you voted for Suicide Squad. Kev voted for Batman vs Superman. I hate both of these very much. So much. I'm gonna go. Not that it's just my pick, but I'm gonna go Suicide Squad just because it is. The whole thing needs to be remade, and there's people who absolutely love Batman vs Superman, I guess, but Suicide Squad just is such a messy, silly movie that it goes on for me. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll get back to the top, and then we'll finish this off real fast.
Over the bottom, really.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Top of the bottom. All right. Be back. Peace.
Brothers Thrice.
Hey, y'all. We're back. All right. Now we went back to the
Yeah,
top of
yeah.
the bracket. So now it is my number one pick, Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, versus we said Justice
Ass.
League, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we talked about Justice League. Let's talk about Green Lantern real fast. Wow, what a bad movie. First of all,
Oh,
the
yeah.
suit and the mask, so distracting because it's like pasted on his face. Like the mask is weird because it's like supposed to be energy. Same with the suit, but like the CG wasn't there yet, and it just looks like Ryan Reynolds' head is floating on the body, and the mask looks
Yeah.
ridiculous. The mask also changes his eye color to blue, which is really weird. Like, why does the mask do that? I know what they're trying to do,
So
but
it's
it's just
2011.
it feels like 2003. If it feels like one of those
Yeah.
that's early, even earlier. The villains are bad. One is the guy with the giant brain, and the other
Uh-huh.
guy is like the giant cloud of pee and poop that's consuming the city, and he has to like
Yeah.
stop it with. And it's also like when it's just a very like when your powers are like unlimited, I could make anything and I could do anything with my ring kind of thing. It's kind of hard to know like what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, because it's like I can do everything with my ring, and then but my weaknesses I have to make sure I believe in myself or whatever to then become more powerful. It's very like
Mhm.
and also the stakes, it's like the cloudy poop is just like eating things. What is it? Does it want it just wants to consume and eat everything? That's all it does. Like what else? It'll accept him and Blake Lively men in this movie, so that's nice for them. And that's all
Well, I mean, he
remembers from it.
Boba Fett's in this movie. Apparently, I just looked up the cast.
Who is he?
Was he the poop guy? Was he the pee poop?
It's a big giant
remember.
CG blob, so I don't think so.
He was the voice of it?
Abin Sur. Maybe he's one of the aliens or something like that.
Maybe. All I know
yeah,
is I've never seen this movie,
Oh,
so I heard it was really bad, so I didn't watch it. But the only positive thing, like it did bring out some positive in the fact that in all the Deadpool movies he makes fun of
Yeah.
it, which makes it even better. So like it brought, and also that they met, him and his wife met, which is nice. So it did bring about some positive things.
yeah. When he
as
goes
well.
in Deadpool 2, he goes back in time and shoots himself in the back of the head when he looks
Yeah.
at the Green Lantern
Yeah,
script. And then
or
he
that
also
or he's
goes
like-
back and shoots the Deadpool from Wolverine Origins.
Yeah,
a bunch of
I like
times.
when he wakes, like he is going in to be tortured. He's like, if I become a hero, just don't make my suit green
Please don't make my suit
or
green.
animated
Or yeah.
or animated. So
So-
it did bring out some good jokes. So
Because
it
it's
I
just-
did
saw
provide
that
us
in the
with something.
theaters,
Green
and
Lantern.
it was garbage. Yeah,
Yeah, I
saw it in the
I think I saw it in the
theaters,
theater
and I was
too.
Like,
I remember it's leaving and
my
just being
face was
like,
like this
what
the whole time,
is
like-
happening? Anytime there's a giant like
yeah.
cloud blob of an enemy, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with it? Like, what am I supposed to care about this? Or like, oh man, we hope we defeat it,
Yeah.
because it's like it had a face on it. It had a weird face on it. But like, ugh.
yeah, and like,
So-
oh, I'm fighting, and here's a Hot Wheels track. You know what I mean? Like, what? You couldn't think of anything else? It
Yeah.
was weird.
Like he kept like doing things that were like real, like I'll just do a big fist, or like it's like you can do anything. It could just be green
Yeah,
energy.
it was-
But like it's whatever. It's like laughably bad now, and even when I saw it, I remember thinking it was terrible. So
Mm-hmm.
and just this whole suit just being weirdly animated is ugh.
Yeah, this was gonna be my number one pick as well, but you picked it first in the draft.
Beat you.
I'm gonna stick with Justice League.
Well, because you
but
haven't
I
seen
feel like
this
you
one.
guys, yeah. So I can't vote on it. So I seem like you guys are way on the Green Lantern trail.
It's just because
I'm
like
gonna,
at least
I'm gonna
like
go vote for the Green Lantern because
Justice League
I
is-
remember it very much so because of how bad it was.
because Justice League is a bad like it's a bad movie like structurally and stuff, but at least like visually it looks pretty good. Like it looks like a good like except the
Right, the
Steppenwolf
CG is-
CG. Steppenwolf CG. Well, it's obviously a newer movie, so it's like, but it's also like it was probably not that much later. What year did what you said 2011 Green Lantern
Yeah.
came out?
2011, which is not that like
That's
early,
not that long, but it's not that long
ago for like CGI. You
It
know
just
what
was.
I
I
mean?
think it was just budget wise. Like, hey, this random new superhero movie, we're not going to give it that much money.
Yeah.
But how much-
Justice League came out in 2017. That's only 6 years later for
Yeah.
like that's really not that big of a jump.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think Green Lantern's moving on, right? Because it's just.
Yeah, that's my vote too.
I just I just remember it
Garbage.
being it's so bad. So then that moves on, and that'll go against what do we say? Ghost Rider. Yeah,
Ghost Rider.
and then so now it's the next. We'll go back up to that. So now going down is Wolverine, right?
Wolverine against Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
All right, so Wolverine versus Suicide Squad.
I have to go Wolverine because in my head it's still just the poor like Suicide Squad. I did enjoy the music. Like yes, it's like there's a lot of music in it for some reason, but like some of the like the main song from it is good. Like I enjoyed that song. And
Which one?
There's
so many songs. I don't.
Sucker for Pain song when it's got like all the rap. Like that's a pretty good song. So like I'm like they try to redeem it a little bit, whereas Wolverine is just there's nothing good in that movie, like nothing, not one thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like in Suicide Squad, some of the characters, though not executed amazingly, were like cool concept. You know what I mean?
Like the
But,
fire
like,
guy was cool.
Yeah, and like
he's
you know,
like barely.
like we said before.
Yeah.
What's her face? Harley Quinn was like the only good part about that movie. Meanwhile, like Kev said, the Wolverine has no good parts. It was all bad.
Not one.
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you guys too there because like it's just because I'm thinking about all the parts of the movie and I'm like I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that. So yeah, Wolverine.
None of it's good.
And then because it's like it's already really bad, and then you literally at the end it's like okay, you introduce the mouth covered up Deadpool and you're like okay, now you put it over the edge. It was already bad, and now you've done this insane thing.
Yeah.
But also before I really knew about Deadpool, I didn't read the comics, so I really was like, what the heck is this supposed to be? And now going back,
I think if you read the comics, you would have been incensed. Like if you're like a comic reader,
this is not Deadpool. This is just some random other person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have been pissed.
Yeah. So then now back up to the top. So Wolverine then moves on to the finals, and now it's Green Lantern versus Ghost Rider. To me, Ghost Rider is ridiculous, and like Nick Cage is crazy. But I also like I'm okay with Nick Cage being so crazy because it's kind of like it works a little bit. Like the story in the movie is not like anything great, but like Nick Cage freaking out and his head lighting on fire. It's like I'm cool with that. That's like it's such a thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen Green Lantern, but I think it has to be worse than Ghost Rider because like honestly, the story of Ghost Rider is cool. The whole premise of the story is cool.
It's very average. It's very like it's nothing. It's not a highlight. It's not a low point. It's kind of just like
and there's no Sam Elliott in Green Lantern, so
very true.
So it makes it worse. So then now going into it, it is Green Lantern versus Wolverine Origins, which actually is number 1 and number 2 pick and seeds. So it's kind of
this is really hard.
No update, no upsets. This is shaken out to be exactly how it's supposed to be.
This is tough because like I when like thinking of like horrible superhero movies, these are the 2 that came to mind immediately. So this is really, really tough.
I think I already have.
No. Sorry, she's getting a shoe.
I think I already have a winner in my head, and I have a reason.
Is it really a winner though?
Well, the loser of the winners, winner of the losers.
For me,
I'm gonna say, For me, I'm gonna say that I think that Wolverine is worse of a movie because I would say Green Lantern was the first movie out, and they were trying to do something, and it sucks all around. But I think because Wolverine Origins was after 3 decent X-Men movies that they already had like the building, like didn't have to like reintroduce Wolverine or Logan or anything. We knew who he was, and they still just built a shitty movie around a character we already knew and loved. Green Lantern's like a B movie that just didn't turn out well. Right. That happens all the time.
With Wolverine, we had a character that we loved, and they like tried to ruin it. We love this character. Let's make it worse. Like, we didn't need his origin story. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
technically, we kind of got. Oh shit! I knocked over my drink. I clean that up.
Is that blue Gatorade on the floor?
We have a bluish gray carpet, so it's fine. I got excited. No. I moved my arm. So what was I saying? Shoot, I missed it.
That's what we do for this pod. We're leaving.
We already got his origin story throughout the first 3 X-Men movies.
In the X-Men 2, like we show him how he becomes and like the Striker and all that kind of stuff. We knew that already. So
yeah, and then they just did it again for like to make a movie. Like, it was unnecessary and unwarranted. So I'm gonna go with Wolverine because it was unnecessary.
I agree wholeheartedly with all the points that you guys just made because like what Will said, I very much agree. It's
we had
Green Lantern. There wasn't anything like it before.
Yeah,
and exactly. And then they just shat all over like the Wolverine kind of storyline, if you will.
And then they did another one where Wolverine goes to Japan, which is not as bad, but it's still like it's some kind of a movie like I don't need this one.
Yeah, and then they redeemed it with Logan, so at least they did
Logan's a hell of a movie.
It is.
I haven't seen that one, so I should probably check that out.
You haven't seen Logan? Good. Oh my god,
I should see it. What I don't understand about Logan is like he's old now. I thought that was the whole point.
You just watch the movie.
Just forget about the Wolverine Origins movie. Just use like the first 3 X-Men movies, and then watch Logan. Don't worry about Origins.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry.
Kind of messes up his like he doesn't age kind of thing. Because it makes sense in Logan that he's now it's like it's even more in the future, which I think they did a good job with like in the future where it's like things are not futuristic, but like there's like self-driving like trucks and different like little subtle things that make it like, oh, it's the future, but it's still pretty much modern day. It's very good.
Future.
So X-Men Origins Wolverine is the worst superhero movie according to Brothers Thrice.
The winner
is the winner loser. So thanks for listening. We'll be next week with a non-bracket style episode. We'll figure out what that is. We don't know.
Do yourself a favor and don't watch any of these movies on this bracket here.
No, negative shout out to all of these.
Yeah, negative shout out. Go read a book or something. Use time much more wisely.
Save the 2+ hours for something good.
Yes. And we did the hard work for you. They're all bad, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Brothers Thrice.
Peace.
Bye.
Brothers Thrice.